In today's episode, we're just going to get straight into it because, quite frankly, I'm getting sick and tired of how police departments are getting away with covering up shit that they have done. I'm bringing it back to May 26th of the death of Officer Houston Tipping in Los Angeles. I don't know if you heard of his story, but he was in training. They were doing a bike police officer scenario where Officer Houston Tipping was the suspect and the guy he was going against was a police officer. Houston Tipping's job was to fake attack the officer. The officer was then to detain him, and that was supposed to be the end of the simulation. In this scenario, when Houston Tipping goes to attack the officer does a strike, which is justified. As they proceed to, quote unquote, head to the ground, the officer reaches around Tipping's neck, which causes a spinal injury. This is what is being portrayed to the community. When you hear about this situation playing out, you think, okay, that is just a freak accident. How could that happen? It's a very sad thing that could have occurred, but it's possible. But then the autopsy came out and the spinal injuries were shown. But with that, Officer Houston Tipping's liver was perforated. His ribs were broke. He had a laceration to his head. And so comparing the autopsy to the scenario that was played out, you start to wonder, how did all these other injuries occur when originally it was labeled as a spinal injury? So, according to Los Angeles Times, LAPD Chief Michael Moore went to do an interview and proceeded to say that nothing we could have done, in my view, prevented this from just what I see as a freak accident. However, we are taking some added safeguards to build a greater buffer, if you will. As this interview went on and as Michael Moore was questioned about the autopsy and the added injuries, the interviewer question was there any video footage of the training that day? Now, I don't know if you know anything about when it comes to the police academy, police department in general, but usually if they can record anything, they're going to record it. You can go on any website and see that there are plenty of recorded training videos. You can go on YouTube and there's thousands of official recorded training videos. And they came out and said, sadly, this particular training video was not recorded. There's no footage out there of it. And so you're like, okay, like that's understandable, but it is kind of weird when in fact y'all record damn near every training video. So you put that on the back of your mind, and then it proceeds to say, okay, there is no foul play. And, you know, the moment we noticed Tipping was down, we did everything we could to save his life. But then the autopsy comes back and it shows that he has all these other injuries that didn't occur or couldn't have been produced with the original scenario that y'all said played out. And as time goes on and as this investigation is going on, then the real news comes out. Tipping was trying to expose some police officers that were on the force for sexual assault. One of these police officers that he was trying to expose was in the exact same training exercise that he was in. Tipping ends up dead. The chief of police said themselves that every exercise that occurred that day was practiced over 10 times, has been practiced for years, is safe. The reason this is called a freak accident is because it should have never happened. So you're telling me that an exercise that was happening that entire day with multiple different people, when it comes to the officer that's trying to expose other officers in the department, finally does this exercise he ends up with a spinal injury, a perforated liver, broken ribs, and a laceration to the head. How did he get the laceration to the head? Last time I checked, if you're trying to save me, why do I have a cut in my head? Why is my liver perforated if you're trying to save me? And then what gets me is these officers, they're scrambling. They're doing everything to avoid talking about this training situation. In the news article itself, they said the police department has been very quiet about the training exercise that happened. No one's talking about it. Nobody's breathing a word of it. It was like it happened and they're doing everything they can to push it up under the rug. What gets me is that this officer saw y'all motherfuckers doing wrong, doing harm, tried to expose y'all like the man he should have, and now he's dead. And like I said before, what gets me is officers, no matter if you're good or bad, they're going to stick beside each other. And they're going to do everything they can to not get their hands fucking dirty. And it's like you want society and you want the community to see you guys as these beautiful, heroic saviors. But then you go and hurt your own. And then you go and kill your own. And you go and silence your own. Y'all focus on getting gangs out on the streets and fighting criminals. But you're the criminals yourself. Because not once did they even care to see, okay, was this a homicide? Was this intentional? And then what gets me is the police departments are so fucking tight that they even got the medical examiner to say it was an accident. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not no medical examiner, but last time I checked, depending on what you told me and what this man's body is telling me, something more happened. The spinal injury, that I understand can occur. That made 100% sense. But then you got the liver, and then you got the cut to the head, and then you got the broken ribs. And then it's like, okay, so where did this come from? And then it was like the medical examiner didn't even fucking question it. It was just like, okay, if y'all want me to label it as an accident, I'll label it as an accident. Like y'all, like police departments are so quick with just trying to get a story under the rug instead of finding justice. This man's life was taken away. He is dead. And then you find out months later, oh, he actually had an open investigation with trying to expose a couple of his co-workers. And then you find out the person that he was trying to expose was also in that training exercise. How is this supposed to look? How are we supposed to, as a civilization, believe you when you say it was an accident? And then you always want people to love and care and fight for you and stop being so rude and to respect you as police officers, but you killing your own. And you stand by each other when y'all do it, and then y'all don't care. This is what I'm saying. You hide behind your fucking badge and then you don't expect any consequences. Y'all hurting that man was y'all hiding behind y'all fucking badge, and that's what gets me. Instead of just taking those sexual assault charges on the chin, instead of just taking your accountability for what the fuck it was with you hurting people, taking the charges you need, you wanted to get the rat out there. You wanted to hurt the rat and get him out the system because you couldn't take the actions you did for what they were worth. You couldn't take the jail time. You couldn't take the suspension. You couldn't take the being fired. So y'all like gang-like mentality, put y'all fucking heads together and wanted to get that man out of there. And don't get it twisted when I say get that man out of there. I mean by whether if it was murder or not, through if it was unlawful suspension or probation, they would have done anything to get that man out of there. That's what I'm saying that they're okay with. That they would have done anything to get him out of there and to silence him. That's what bothers me. Y'all talk so bad about criminals and how people are this and people are this and da 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 da, but you doing criminal like activity. Y'all have criminal like mentalities. A lot of you police officers out there, and it's fucking disgusting. And then y'all want to keep telling us stop screaming ACAB. Stop screaming ACAB. There's good officers out there. Well, baby, you killed one of them. He dead. 6 feet under. The investigation he had there is probably going to be fucking closed because he's gone and he can't fucking testify now. How do you expect us to care for you or to care for your well-being if you walk around as if you're God and as if you have this ability to get rid of anybody you don't like? And the sick thing about it is cops do wrong every single day. And y'all stand behind each other like it's like a game, like it's funny. Y'all don't ever take accountability for the shit y'all do. Y'all don't ever realize the harm you're bringing into the community, but then always want to go back around and play victim and say, boo hoo, we're cops and we're getting bullied and nobody respects us and what has the world become and da 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 da. But you're killing innocent black and brown people. And kids and teenagers and women. And when people come to you for domestic violence, you ignore them. And when people call you for shit, you don't want to show up until 30 minutes late because that person turns up annoying. What disgusts me is if this was murder and the guy purposely killed Officer Houston Tipping, what disgusts me is that y'all are okay with a murder happening within your own home, the police department. And y'all are okay with these people getting away with it if it was murder. That's what disgusts me. Because as of today, it was labeled as an accident, as a freak accident. But like anybody and their mama can see, that autopsy shows differently. The injuries occurred to his body do not equivalent to the things that the sheriff is saying. And so if you did kill this man, just the audacity of y'all being okay with that and having that fall on deaf's ears is disgusting. And if those sexual assault charges against his fellow co-workers is true, y'all need to go to jail and charges need to be pressed on y'all. And you need to go through the system just like every other person you have arrested. Just because you wear a badge, just because you are an umbrella, you are not invincible. You are not untouchable. If you did commit these crimes, if you did hurt these people like Officer Tippin is saying, then you need to be prosecuted just like the same criminals you put behind bars. You are no exception. And a lot of y'all officers, y'all definitely be so gun-ho, y'all walk around like you is and you not. Police departments are showing us every single day they have nobody's life in their best interest. The police departments have shown us every day that when it comes down to it, they will fight for their own each and every single time, no matter how big or small. No matter if they know they have wrongfully done you wrong, they would not take accountability for their actions. Police officers are so victim blaming, but really they're more gang-like than any gang on these streets. They're more criminal than most criminals on these streets. And every single day with every new incident, they keep showing you that we are going to win. We are going to manipulate the situation or scenario to our liking. And we're going to do everything we can to keep the officers that we have on our force, no matter if they did what they were claimed to do or not. And the sick part about it is you are so okay with having somebody that is convicted of sexually assaulting somebody, convicted of murdering somebody on your team, than the person that did no crime at all to be on your team. Make that make sense. You are so hungry for people that have bad records attached to their name than the people that are trying to expose the ones that have a bad name. And Officer Tipping's scenario has shown us that trying to go inside the system and fix it is impossible, because the moment somebody gets a whiff of it, you're gone, whether that's you being suspended or dead. So how is there that we can scream there's good cops if we can see in the scenario he was killed, allegedly? So where do the good cops go if they're suspended or hurt? So it leaves all you bad motherfuckers that we keep talking about as civilians. The ones that don't show up and don't care, but always want to scream that we need to respect you and we need to love you and we need to have who? Y'all are disgusting. I'm not even just leaving this to the the police department. I'm talking about all police departments across the country. Y'all are disgusting. If you are willing to have an officer that is accused or has done illegal activity on your force and you don't mind that is disgusting to me. That is disgusting. You are willing to allow these people that have hurt others, that don't care about others, that have come out and said they're racist and come out and say that they are hunting black people and that they are willing to kill black people, and look at them and say, I want you on my team. You're disgusting. And case after case after case, officers are coming out more and more every day saying how they're out here to cause more harm than they are to cause good. And I'm talking about the bare minimum comes towards them when it comes to consequences. They're either put on suspension and then later re-enlisted, or they're fired. You fire these people, but you don't arrest them. Last time I checked, if I went to any job and said, hey, I'm only here to kill black people, or hey, I'm only here to force my hand, bitch, I'm going to jail. But for some reason, your officers get an exception and y'all just get a slap on the wrist and it's like, hey, just go find a new career. No, this officer confessed to just being on the force to hurt people, to kill people, to calling black people niggers and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, just move on with your life. It is what it is. And the crazy thing about me is these bad officers are exposed every single day. And it's like nobody bats an eye. Like for some reason, it's normal to just be a fucking asshole. And now a man is 6 feet under over a training exercise that was confessed by the sheriff themselves that this injury occurred to Officer Tipping should have never happened. And in that exact same day, that exercise was performed 10 different times with other people and nothing happened. What changed this time? We got to change how police departments are being run. It has been shown for years that these law enforcement agencies are full with corruption, are full with politicians that are willing to get their hands dirty, to do anything they can to get to the top, including committing crimes that are unthinkable. These officers every single day have shown us as civilians that they are willing to do anything they can to keep their name in the running, and that they're not afraid because they know at the end of the day, they have a whole police department to back them up, to hold them down, to keep them safe. These are dangerous people that know that they can do whatever they want and get away with it. That is scary. This is a dangerous world we're living in. A very scary one. And if this scenario does not wake you guys up as human beings to change, to go out there and vote, to go out there and protest, to fight, we're going to get to a point where you can murder anybody and not any consequences will happen to you. Where any crime can be committed and nothing will happen to you. Stop letting these officers have the power they have. They are here to protect and serve us. They are here to patrol us. And so far, they walk around as if they own us and as if they control us, and they don't. They're supposed to be an asset to the community, but not conquering it. Remember, you're supposed to be working together, not the enemy with your ally. And right now, and for decades, historically, it is shown these officers are not doing their job like it was supposed to come out to be. We got to fix it.